Hello, algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here, and we are going to get a little more practice at graphing these quadratics, these parabolas, okay? Remember the steps. We're going to find the discriminant. Once we know how many x-intercepts there are from the discriminant, then we'll go find the x-intercepts, if there are any. We'll find the vertex, and then we'll be able to graph, okay? If there aren't any x-intercepts, then I'll use a table to help me get the other 2 points that I'm going to need. Now, before we jump into this, you are having a quiz on Friday. The quiz will have just exactly what I said to it. You'll have to be able to do all those things. All right, so let's get started here. First of all, I'm going to identify A, B, and C. Now I go find my discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, and let's see, that'll be negative 11 minus 4 times 6 times negative 10. This will be 121, and that'll be a positive 240 because I got a negative times a negative. So that'll be 361, and I think that is a perfect square. I'm almost positive, so I know there's going to be 2 x-intercepts. Right? 2 solutions, and I'm going to check that 361. I think it's 19. Yep, sure is. All right, so now I'm going to go find these x-intercepts, and that's where I use the entire quadratic formula. X equals the negative of b. Notice 11 changed signs. It was a negative 11, and it turned into a positive 11 because I need the negative b, plus or minus the square root. I'm just going to write my discriminant here because I know it already. I don't want to refigure it out. All over 2a. And so what I have is x is going to equal 11 plus or minus 19 over 12. And so we'll get 11 plus 19 divided by 12, and 11 minus 19 over 12. And so let's see here, 11 plus 19 is 30. 30 twelfths. Simplify to 15 sixths, which, let's see, as a mixed number, because I don't really understand that. Oh, no, that's going to simplify even more. I should have divided by 6. Sorry about that. Let me divide this by 6. That'll be a lot easier to work with. All right, we're going to get, silly me, we're going to get 5 halves, I believe. Yes. Okay, 5 halves, which will be 2 1/2. So my x-intercept is at 2 1/2, 0. I'm going to put it right on there. Okay, now the other x-intercept looks like I'm going to get a negative 8 twelfths, which will be a negative 2/3. So my other x-intercept is going to be at negative 2/3, 0. So maybe right about there. I guess I should do that in red. Sorry about that. Okay. And now I need to go find my vertex. And so my vertex is going to be x equals 11 over 2a, which will be 12. So my vertex is at 11 twelfths. And if you want to put that axis of symmetry in, I think that's a great idea. And let's see here. You know, something's bothering me. Let's see. Boom, boom. No, I guess it's okay. Yeah, it didn't look quite right. You know, I can check my vertex real quick. I could add 2 1/2 and negative 2/3 and then average, divide by 2. So if I got 2 1/2 plus negative 2/3, and I divide by 2, I get 0.916, and the 6 repeats. So my axis of symmetry should be very close to the point x equal, or the line x equals 1, and sure enough it is. All right, so now I was just checking because this number didn't quite look right. My graph kind of bothered me a little bit, and so I just decided to average my 2 x-intercepts. Okay, so I'm going to go y equals, what was A? A was 6. So we're going to go 6 times 11/12 squared minus 11 times 11/12 and minus 10. And so this will be 6 over 1 times 121 over 144. And maybe I can think about that 144 differently. Maybe, since I'm going to try to do this without a calculator. I don't mind you using one. But let's see, what if I thought about this? There's 12 and 12. What I thought about is 2 times 6 times 12. And that way my 6's could cancel out. And I would get 121/24 minus 121/12 minus 10. Notice this is half of that once again. So if this is exactly half of that, then when I subtract, I should get a negative 121/24. I get this number. Watch. Okay. 6 minus 12 is negative 6. I get that sign, but that number. 10 minus 20, negative 10. See what I'm doing? This number is half of that number. So therefore, when I subtract, I get the negative of this number left over. All right, minus 10. All right, let's see. Let's turn this negative 121 into a mixed number. So it's going to be negative 5. And then, oops. And then we're going to go math frac. Oop, it won't convert it. That's very bizarre. Wonder why it wouldn't do that. Okay, I'll go ahead and round for the purposes here. So about like that, minus 10. And so my y-coordinate of my vertex is going to be at negative 15 and about 0.04. And it's going to be really hard to graph that perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count by 2's. Okay, I'm going to count by 2's. So I'll put a negative 2 here. That makes this negative 14. And then negative 15. It's going to be right about there. Okay, and now you get to laugh at me because I'm trying to draw my parabola. Oh my goodness, that looks horrid. All right, I haven't figured out a good way to do it with the airliner. But with your pencil, it should look a lot better than that. I don't know, maybe if I start down. Yeah, it's still pretty rough. All right, let's do one more example and then we will wrap up this video. All right, so same thing. We're going to first go A, B, C. Easy as negative 12, negative 5, negative 2. Go for my discriminant. So I'm going to do B squared using those parentheses minus 4AC. I get 25, and that's going to be a negative 96. Ooh, that's going to be a negative. There's not going to be any x-intercepts. This will not cross the x-axis. So we're going to get negative 71. So there are no solutions here. So I won't waste my time going to look for the quadratic or using the quadratic formula. I'm going to go right to the vertex. Right to the vertex. Quadratic formula will not work because you cannot take the square root of a negative without going into the imaginary number system. So x is going to equal 5 over negative 24. So that's the x-coordinate of my vertex. To get the y-coordinate of my vertex, I'm going to do y equals negative 12 times 5 over negative 24 squared minus 5 times 5 over 24, negative 24, minus 2. And just in the interest of time, I'm going to go right to my calculator on this one. Negative 12 times negative 5/24, and x squared, minus 5 times negative 5/24 minus 2. And I'm going to get a y-coordinate My y-coordinate is going to be about negative 1/48 hundredths. So my vertex is happening at negative 5/24, which is about 1/5, a little bit more than 1/5, and negative 1/48 hundredths, which is a little bit less than 1.5. So my vertex, negative 5, or about 1/5, right? And then down 1.5, about. So it's going to be right about there. Okay, so now I go to table. And I've got this in here. And I'm going to put 0 in. And when I put 0 in, I'm going to get negative 2 out. When I put, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to put negative 10/24. I'm going to get negative 2 out. And so then I'm going to graph this and this, and my parabola is going to look real tight. It's going to be really scrunched together down here. Something like that. Okay, that's it for the video. Mr. Lawrence signing off. Have a good night, everybody.